Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. We're going to try something a little bit different today. We're going to do a recording on the web tiles version of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, the online version. Uh, the benefits of this version are pretty cool. You can play the trunk as it's being developed, the new patch, as it were, and you can access your characters from anywhere that you have a web browser. So if you commute or have multiple machines or something. Anyway, we're going to give this a shot. The downside of the WebTiles version is that you can't use the mouse at all. So you have to get used to the key commands, which it could take a little while, but it's not too bad. So, what I want to try out today is a caster type. And I've been doing some stuff with Tengu lately. They're pretty cool. They're really good at conjurations, but they're really fragile. Um, it even says in the description they're not quite as fragile as deep elves, but then their affinities for magic aren't quite as good either. I think though I'm going to try again with the gargoyle monk kind of build. So let's try it out. Or would it be better to actually start with a spell book? Nah, let's try it out. We're gonna give this another shot here. Um, Again, we're gonna stop training everything but fighting, and take off into the dungeon. Oh, I do need to do a key binding, which is um, control. No, that's doing browser command. Well, maybe we can't do key bindings that easily. I'll experiment with them between this video and the next. You'll notice a few sort of interface differences here. It's a little slower for individual movement. It's a little bit laggy, and when you auto explore, it doesn't follow you around. So it can be marginally confusing, but that's fine. I think they may have removed contaminated meat from the game. I think all edible corpses are edible at the same nutrition level. Ah, shucks. Oh, here we go. I was just using the wrong command. Okay, so we're going to key map here. T is going to be... Oh, no. We want to... let's see. So Control D brings up the key mapping, and we want to set 4 to T, and we're going to set T to O, so that we can auto-explore without having to stretch our hands out. That's... oh, need to remove numlock there. Okay. All right. That got some stuff sorted out for us. So, let's try putting on these rings here. A ring of fire, okay. And a ring of wizardry. Ooh, the ring of wizardry is quite nice. We're gonna go ahead and let's see. How do we remove jewelry? Here we go. Yeah. You'll have to bear with me, as a few of these commands are not something that I use normally in the downloaded tiles version. Okay, so if you didn't watch the last video involving gargoyle monks, the basic premise is that you rely on the monk unarmed combat package to get you through the very early game until you find a cool weapon, and then you train up that weapon. We preferably want a cool mace or flail, but we are open to other options, for sure. Because your weapon is not your primary focus. Your primary focus is finding a spellbook with some kind of blasty spell in it, and then relying on Chabriados to boost your intelligence enough to give you a head start with that, and becoming a late game monster. However, it's a little bit tricky to get rolling. The early stages of the game can be cruel if you don't find a spellbook and or a cool weapon. Let's just use this mace. One neat thing in this particular trunk version is that if you find a regular weapon, a non-enchanted weapon, it's not runed or glowing, etc., etc., putting points into intelligence for spellcasting. It will never be cursed. It will. I mean, its modifier will always be 0/0. Well, that didn't go too well there. Null on level 1 is pretty hard to deal with. Yes, let's save macros. It does show you the best crawlers on the WebTiles version, so there's some pretty crazy high scores there, as you can see. Let's try it again. Because that was not a particularly long recording. I'm just making sure that this is, in fact, recording. Yeah, okay, good. The format of all of this is just slightly different. We do want fighting, we don't want unarmed combat, or stealth, or dodging. Okay. And that null fight, we could have messed around with test quaffing potions and whatnot, but I'm okay with that death. I mean, if you get a null on level 1, it's just kind of unlucky, and while you can expend resources to try and get past it, for the purposes of this video, I just might as well let it go. So gargoyles are particularly interesting as a species. If you haven't played with them before, you should try them out, because I think they're really, really strong. We have this hand axe that will help us out here. They just possess a ton of natural resistances and immunities that make equipment selection a lot nicer towards the mid and late game. You can devote equipment entirely to resist fire, cold, and somewhat to resist negative energy, although you start off with some of that already. So, and those 3 resistances are just really important in the end game, extended end game. Plus, they're resistant to torment, which is really nice. Ooh, a runed short sword. I like the graphical updates. Some of them are kind of cool. Ooh, a +1 short sword of electrocution. That's actually really good early on, though the electrocution brand has been toned down somewhat. Let's see about this hand axe of flaming. +4 hand axe of flaming. Wow. Well, I think we're going to use that over the sword of electrocution. Electrocution is still quite good, especially on fast weapons, but a +4 weapon, even if it didn't have flaming, would tempt me. Okay. So we have survived this far. And another cool thing about the WebTiles version, and there may be a way to enable it on the downloaded version, but these footsteps for when you auto-travel, even though it doesn't show you going through the process of traveling, it shows where you have been, which is neat. There are a number of really interesting things with this trunk update, not all of which I am familiar with yet. I haven't played a whole lot on the WebTiles version. But I have been reading the updates as to trunk development. I like seeing what's coming. We found an amulet. Ooh, an amulet of clarity. That's very, very good. Very good find. Amulets of clarity prevent you from being berserked, confused, or otherwise mentally disabled against your will. You can still use active forms of berserking. The reason why we're training fighting exclusively for these first few levels is twofold. First, it helps counteract the natural frailty of gargoyles, negative 20% hit points. They're just as frail as Tengu as far as hit points go. However, you know, our armor class, our innate armor class, helps make up for that quite a bit. Um, so that's nice. Um, so the fighting helps counteract that a little bit, and also it provides us with a globally useful source of weapon skill and damage. It's not a lot. The damage and accuracy granted to particular weapon skills by fighting is quite low, but you know, it's not entirely insignificant, and it kind of provides us with a head start once we find a weapon that we really want to use. And when I say a weapon that we really want to use, I basically mean a either an artifact of some sort or some absurd weapon like an electrocutioner's or an executioner's axe. And a ring of sustainabilities. Okay, we've had some good luck thus far with our jewelry finds. Oh, yikes. Gnoll. Can we kill a gnoll? I think we can probably kill a gnoll. What do we have in our inventory? Bunch of different potions. Let's finish up this level before we go back and kill that gnoll. See if we can't get to maybe level 5. Maybe find a cooler weapon. I mean, he's not going anywhere. You're starving. Gosh. Well, let's go back up the stairs then and see if we can't kill that gnoll. We'll eat a fruit. Huh. That's interesting. Oh, good grief. They've apparently combined the various fruits into one stack of stuff. That's actually, I like that a lot. It's really frustrating having to deal with a lot of inventory slots used up by different types of permafood. Okay, cool. A giant gecko is nearby. Oh no. Oh dear. Okay, cool. So that was nice that we killed that gnoll. Got us a good little chunk of experience. I'm hoping that we find a spellbook soon, so that we can justify putting points into spellcasting. I may start doing that anyway, actually. In fact, I think I will. Since we want to be able to cast offensive spells as rapidly as possible. And we may find a spellbook that doesn't have any, you know, level 1 or 2 spells that are easy to cast right away. If we hadn't found this really good axe, you know, +4 of flaming is very strong. Oh, shucks. Let's switch over to... Oh, wait, corrosion is temporary now. Still, let's switch back to this short sword of electrocution for dealing with this. Why were we punching the jelly? I guess we get an extra attack with our offhand. That seems like something that rings a bell. Ooh, pole arms are no fun. It's really rough when your enemies are hitting you from afar. And ugh, we are in trouble here. Let's quaff some of these potions. Potion of Might, that's not super helpful. It's a little bit helpful, but not incredibly so. Let's just try and brute force. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Potions of Might are very good early on. They allow you to defeat enemies in melee combat that you otherwise would not be able to defeat. It adds to your damage and your strength a great deal. So, while not quite... Oh, good. Alright. Let's retreat upstairs to heal here. There are a few too many gnolls around for my taste. A little bit of risky business there. Oh, it's one of these levels. Every once in a while on Dungeon 3, you'll get a giant fortress full of gnolls. Which, while it's great for experience or for leaving a guaranteed source of food for later, it's really difficult to deal with when you first encounter it. So it would behoove you to sort of explore the other. Oh, that's a cool looking helmet. Huh. Well, let's put it on. Neat. Some of these graphical updates are really cool. I like them. Um, the Tiles graphics have always been pretty good, I think, but let's try out this amulet too. An amulet of... Oh, that's right. All jewelry now identifies when you put it on, not just some jewelry. Amulet of Warding, that's pretty good too, but I like Clarity better. Warding is kind of situational. It provides you with, I think, damage reduction, or maybe it's evasion, against summoned creatures, and you also, I believe, have a chance to abjure them with each time you hit them, or something such. Abjuration is the process of reducing a summon's stay in this world. Let's try out this flail. Flail of Protection. That's not bad, certainly. We may switch over to that at some point. Let's also get this leather armor and put it on. Robe is better for unarmed combat. You really always want to stick to robes or animal skins if you can when you're dealing with unarmed combat. It's just generally a good policy. We can get rid of this hand axe. That is a regular hand axe. That's fine. Okay. Do we have some scrolls here? Let's wait until we need to remove a curse before we start test reading scrolls. I was playing a game with it was a Tengu Conjurer, actually, on the regular version on another machine, who failed to find any remove curse scrolls in the first... Oop, what did I do there? Well, that's... Okay, good. Shift. Well, huh. I'm not sure how in the web version to swing your weapon without moving, but Okay, we're in a little bit of a sticky situation here. These gnolls are hasted by this gnoll shaman. Fortunately, some of them were standing in the water, so their attacks were reduced in effectiveness. So yeah, we're just waiting at this point to find something good for us to pick up. I'm going to trickle some points into dodging here. Let's focus fighting and spell casting, and just put a little bit into armor. Armor is quite handy throughout the entire game for anybody except for robe wearers only. It increases your armor class that you receive from armor, and it also reduces any penalties associated with armor, such as spellcasting penalties and accuracy penalties with melee attacks. So plunking a few points in early on before we get some spells and need to focus our spell school specifically is, I think, fairly profitable. Okay, let's approach this gnoll. Polearm users or polearm gnolls are really rough early on because if you don't have a good source of ranged damage, you pretty much just have to walk up to them and take a free hit of them poking you or slicing you in the face. Not super nice. Although we can get this for throwing net. Yep. Oh, I see. All right. Little key binding difficulty there. The search field was allowing me to type the number 4. It showed up as 4 on the search field, but it functioned as the key binding that we have it set to. All right. Okay, so our fighting's getting pretty good. I think I'll train it up to 10, and then I will stop training it. For a little while, at least. Presumably by that point, I will have a spellbook of some sort. Oh, too many gnolls. Oop. No, I meant to... No, I didn't mean to clear the level map. I meant to close the door. Weird. Well, clearing the level map is not particularly detrimental to us. Ooh, this is a tricky situation. I maybe should have waited to explore this gnoll pit. I can still back out, I think. Let's see how we do against this ogre. Yeah, I think we're doing okay here. Let's test quaff another potion. One more. Oh, well. Space occasionally distorts in your vicinity. I'm not sure what that does. We did get free clarity. If we survive this battle, it'll be quite nice. Potion of invisibility. Okay, that's my signal to run away. How are they still tracking me when I'm invisible? That's really... I feel like that was... I feel like that was an unfair death. Well, that's a little disappointing, but again, we were just getting used to this web interface. We had no sources of healing, so we would have had to test read scrolls, which is even less reliable. Okay, well, that gives you an interesting look at the web tiles version. I don't think I'll start another character on here just quite yet. I may play through the early few levels, so I don't have to go through the explanation all over again. And I will refer new viewers to this video, so that'll work out. But thanks for watching. This build, I think, is going to be very strong in the very late game, provided that I manage to get there. So we will, in theory, be able to have some fun, maybe conquer a ziggurat someday. But for now, toodaloo, and thanks for watching.